12:30. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chris Bellardi in the News Channel 8 studio. We are following breaking news. Many of you across Connecticut are well aware of what's going on right now in Middletown. You felt the feeling of the explosion. It rattled homes across a wide region of the state. What we're hearing about, and you're looking at a live picture right now from Middletown, there was a plume of smoke a little earlier from the distance there. You can barely see a little wafting smoke remaining there. But what we're hearing is a large explosion at the Clean Energy plant on River Road in Middletown. That is along the Connecticut River, about 2 miles east of downtown Middletown. And we are hearing reports of a very large explosion about an hour ago. Reports of mass casualties are initially coming in. Ambulances, police, fire, all rushing to the scene right now. I spoke moments ago with a person who lives in a neighborhood overlooking where this power plant, which apparently was having some work done. There was some construction work being done at the plant over the last weeks and months. Someone who lives in a neighborhood overlooking that power plant said that homes in that neighborhood have had some substantial damage as a result of the blast, shaken from their foundation. They said it felt like a major earthquake. The explosion was massive. There are reports of a ball of fire shortly after the explosion occurred. Again, 1 hour ago at the Clean Energy plant on River Road. We spoke with one of our producers who lives in that area, was telling us about the fire and police rushing to the scene. Lifestar helicopters have been called as well. At least 2, possibly a third, called to that scene. Again, at this point, the information is slow to come in because, let's face it, authorities are rushing to the scene now trying to deal with it. But again, initial reports do tell of mass casualties, perhaps some fatalities as well. And what's interesting about this is that the scope of the experience is just very wide. We have reports all the way down to the shoreline in Madison, in Clinton, in Brantford. We have reports of people feeling the explosion as well to the east and well to the west of Middletown. At this point, for example, on a website like Twitter, Middletown explosion is getting a lot of comments. People are talking about this and looking for information. We have several crews right now on the ground in Middletown trying to gather information. News Channel 8's Mark Robbins is there at the moment. Also, several photographers are there as well. And we have been getting inundated with phone calls here in the News Channel 8 newsroom as well. People wondering what that sound was, what that was that shook their home. Again, reports of an explosion at a Clean Energy plant that was having some construction work done on River Road, which is in Middletown, which is obviously right along the Connecticut River, about 2 miles east of the downtown Middletown area. News Channel 8's Mark Robbins again on the ground. We will be talking to him in just a moment. If you look at the live shot, which is on top of the Middlesex Corporate Center, looking east, looking towards the site of that explosion, you can see a little bit of smoke still there. But from the reports that we are getting, firefighters are on the ground there still trying to rescue some people from the scene, obviously also trying to still put out the fire. Though the plume of smoke is smaller now than it was 5 minutes ago, it is still something that they are trying to handle at this point. And again, reports from people in the neighborhood, people who are within sight of the power plant, are that the homes there in those neighborhoods actually had some damage as a result of the blast. They were shaken from their foundation. People are out, they're in their neighborhoods, talking to each other, trying to get a sense of just how significant that blast was. And again, we are getting reports from all over the state, from as far south as Brantford and Clinton and Guilford, people experiencing and feeling the explosion in their homes, having things rattle, wondering if it was perhaps a small earthquake, or someone writing in a note that they thought it was a sonic boom, perhaps a jet breaking the sound barrier. Again, we are still trying to gather as much information as we can. The early reports are mass casualties, but again, we have no hard numbers at this point. We also have information about some fatalities, but again, nothing confirmed at this point as authorities try to just figure out exactly what's happening. News Channel 8's executive producer Janet Lopes lives in that area, was able to tell us about the almost chaotic scene as authorities rushed to the scene. Firefighters, police, and ambulances. Police are asking you to stay away, don't go looking, if curiosity is getting the best of you, don't go trying to check things out at this point. Leave it to the authorities to try to get a sense of how bad things are. Again, as we mentioned, News Channel 8's Mark Robbins is on the ground there. Mark, just kind of getting to the scene, give us a sense of what you can see from where you are.
Well, I'm over here in Portland across the river from the Clean Energy plant. It is behind me over my left shoulder, and there was a massive explosion around 11:30 this morning. I have an eyewitness who happens to live here in Portland across the river, Bernadette Nyland, who lives across the river from the plant. What did you see and hear this morning?
Well, I was outside with my 2 dogs in the backyard, and the plant, as you can see, they were doing the firing of the engines this morning, and so something went wrong, and it blew up, and flames came shooting up almost as tall as that stack there, and then the smoke came billowing, and the dogs went running into the house, and that was that.
And what did you feel? There was a huge concussion as well?
Yes, and blew out our windows, blew out Mr. Harmon's window here too. It was frightening. It was very frightening.
Well, we appreciate you taking a moment. Thank goodness that you're okay.
Yeah.
Bernadette Nyland witnessed the event pretty much from the start. Thank you very much, Bernadette. The huge concussion has blown out windows in several houses here just across the Connecticut River here in Portland. And 2 Lifestar helicopters are on the scene. And we understand that there were several people, certainly more than a dozen or so, in the facility at the time of the explosion. We don't know. We cannot confirm any type of injury count, but there was quite a bit of people in that facility at the time. We're still gathering more information. When we get it, of course, we'll bring it to you. Live in Portland, I'm Mark Robbins, News Channel 8. Back to you, Chris.
Mark, I spoke with someone who lives, I believe, in that same neighborhood, and they talked about kind of hearing from time to time loud noises, and I think even Bernadette kind of mentioned it to you. Are you hearing that as this work was going on, because there was construction work being done there, to some degree the folks there were somewhat used to hearing some strange noises coming from the plant?
You know what, Bernadette, could you come back real quick? Have you been hearing noises coming from the plant in the past?
Well, they were, from what I understand, they were testing, purging it, or whatever, so it sounded like jet engines all morning, turning on and then turning off, loud.
How frequently and how soon before the explosion?
They probably started testing about 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was going right up to the explosion.
Okay. Well, there you have it, Chris. Yes, noises throughout the morning, and unfortunately culminating in this explosion.
All right, Mark, thanks very much. Again, the concussion of the explosion felt as far away as Wallingford, North Haven, North Brantford, Brantford, Guilford, along the shoreline. People unsure of what it was, saying it sounded like a sonic boom, perhaps a jet breaking the sound barrier, but now we do know that it was an explosion at the Clean Energy plant, 1349 River Road, right along the Connecticut River. Mark, again, was in Portland, which is across the Connecticut River, so this is about 2 miles east of downtown Middletown, where this plant, which was having some work done, you heard the eyewitness there explaining that she had heard those noises all morning long as they were testing things. There has been a lot of work being done. I spoke with a neighbor who said that she had heard sounds kind of over the course of the last couple of weeks as they do that kind of work. But today, the explosion happening a little more than an hour ago, and again, 2 Lifestar helicopters landing on scene. Police calling it a mass casualty type of situation. They are still on the scene, still trying to assess the damage, but as you could see from that live shot, it looks like they have the fire at this point under control. Whether or not there are still rescues going on, we do not know. The number of injuries, we don't know. We don't know how many people were on the scene there who were working at the power plant at the time of the explosion. As Mark said, he is there across the river from the power plant. We are here. We will continue to try to gather information for you as well. Bring you another update as soon as we do have more information. At this point, we'll send you back to regular programming here on News Channel 8.